This meeting is called to order. This is a town council public meeting for July 5th, 2022. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, then a moment of silence, and we'll turn to Father John.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Also, just a special moment for the tragedy in Highland Park, Illinois.
Thank you. Father John, if you would.
Let us pray. Almighty and merciful Lord, we come before you to ask your Spirit to fill the men and women of the town council, department heads, the attorney of the town of Cedar Lake. Lord, through your guidance, through your strength, may they do what is right and just for this community and for your greater glory. We pray all of this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan.
Here.
John Foreman.
Present.
Julie Rivera. Here. Ralph Miller.
Present.
Colleen Scheven. Here. Richard Sharp.
Here.
Randy Niemeyer.
Present.
I am present. Chris Gladys.
Present.
David Austin.
We have a quorum established. We start tonight with two presentations. First one, presentation of groundbreaking shovel to the Cedar Lake Historical Association. Chris.
So we broke ground on the historic quote-unquote lake dredge project, the lake ecosystem restoration. We had most everybody here except for Bob, unfortunately, due to COVID. But I had preserved 3 of the shovels and had the council members and department heads and Dave sign it to keep in memorial for this event. It's my understanding that the lake is about 14,000 years old, and we're going to dredge it for the first time in its life. So I think it's a special event for the community. It's a project that the town councils for about 3 decades have been trying to accomplish, and that's what you guys here, that's what the council here has accomplished. So I'd like to present the shovel or one of the shovels to the Cedar Lake Historical Association, as well as a signed run of show for that event, so they could put it on display and keep it for those who are to come after us.
Cool. So you officially have all of our worthless autographs.
Don't say we never gave you anything. So there's the old shovel.
Yeah, we've had a lot of interest in the lake dredging project as people come through and see our waterways displayed, so we're really happy to be able to incorporate that. Good job, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
You know how to do that? Thank you, Chris. For the next, we have a service award for Pam Castor. I turn it over to our clerk treasurer, Jen Sandberg. Come on up. We all know you. We all
Don't be thankful.
Council, it is a pleasure for me to stand before you all tonight to acknowledge Pam Kessler. Pam has served the town in the office of clerk treasurer since 1995. 25 years is a very special accomplishment. Pam has been a steadfast presence in the utility department all those years, and is an absolute wealth of knowledge that is irreplaceable to the office. She's trained and worked with many staff members over the years who have moved on and in some instances moved up. I like to think that Pam had a big hand in that for many of us. Many of us, if not all of us, are successful because of Pam. I know without her support, I would not be where I am today.
Don't cry.
As good as your friend.
Over the years, Pam has dedicated herself to the entire community And tonight, as she stands here before us all, she's a wonderful example of the hard work and dedication from one individual can make you successful. Pam has an absolute bright personality that will be so greatly missed every day in our office. And I know that I will not only miss my coworker, but I will miss my friend. Thank you. And so, Pam, on behalf of the town council, the town of Cedar Lake, and myself, I am proud to present you with this plaque of wreath. On this 5th day of July, 2022, the town council of the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, with their sincerest gratitude and thanks, is hereby present this service award to Pam Katzner. In recognition of 25 years of dedicated service as the utility clerk and deputy clerk to and for the town and its residents. Thank you.
It's actually been my honor and my privilege. I have met so many wonderful people and made friends that'll be my friends forever. I'm just blessed, and I love my job most of the time. I do, I love my job, and that's why it's bittersweet, but I'm getting old and I want to do things where I can still walk. But thank you all very much. Thank you.
Pam, do you want to take a couple pictures?
And with
In
the
the front?
family, we'll get out of your way, we'll take a little short recess.
With your husband?
and take pictures.
Kids?
Thank you.
No, we like the logo behind it.
We ruined pictures.
Bob, don't break the camera on us.
You stay here.
We're gonna go take a photo. Chris, you want to get it?
Yeah, where's Chris? Where's Chris? Where's Chris? We're just gonna get one of ours. Mom, turn your flag, there you go. Yeah. I'll let Brian get on there. Where's Becky? Hey, Beck, well, you guys take a picture first, then we'll come. Yeah, so here. All right. Where's Tony and Bruce? They didn't even get up here, they're supposed to be up here too.
Hope you got a wide angle on it.
I was just
Okay, everybody see here. Jennifer. And Sarah, and Chris, where's Chris? You want to do
You know how to do that, Brian?
Chris is coming. Sarah? Sarah?
Very good.
It's bittersweet, I'm sure.
You trust him with that camera?
like 45.
Yes, thank you. Oh, my gosh. Thank you. Thank Thank you guys very much. Thank you.
Absolutely, Pam, thank you. People make organizations, and you're a great personality.
So in an era when people change jobs often as they change socks, it's hard to replace someone with the institutional knowledge and dedication of Pam. So you never replace somebody like that. You just hope to train somebody to fill a new set of shoes, because those shoes can never be filled. So, it's great gratitude, sad, but, very happy for Pam and her next chapter. So, look forward to, hearing about all the cool things that you do.
So Pam, I have a question. Are you gonna take up golf? Okay.
I'm going to do, I'm just gonna putt and cook and
There you
clean
go.
house, go places and visit with my family and my friends.
Okay,
Come down every once in a while and bother everybody at the town hall and,
good for you.
You're gonna visit with Brian a lot?
yeah.
Well, thank you again, Pam, for your years of service, and thank you to the Kastner family for lending her to this town. So we're very appreciative and in your debt.
Absolutely.
Next, we have public comment on agenda items. Second call for public comment on agenda items. Third call, public comment is closed. We have our consent agenda, which is the minutes of the June 7th, 2022 meeting. Claims, all town funds, $359,117.46. Wastewater operating, $442,933.78. Water utility, $35,452.27. Stormwater, $92,486.66. And payroll for 6/23, 6/30, and 7/1 for $277,165.48. Is there a motion to accept and waive the reading of the minutes and accept the consent agenda as listed?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Foreman, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Sheehan, questions or discussion? Roll call?
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Scheven?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Nemeyer?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance 1422 is Penn Holdings annexation petition, introductory reading. Mr. Sharpike's title, please.
Ordinance number 1422, an ordinance annexing certain contiguous land to the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, and all matters related thereto.
Mr. Austin?
This is a parcel of property, 36 acres, in an area that is proposed for annexation. The ordinance before you is the introductory ordinance to commence the process. The process will, from your consideration of approval of this first reading, result in a public hearing in 30 days and the completion of fiscal plan related to the development ultimately of the parcel. So this is next to the, immediately south and east of the COBD South parcel and project, and will continue the development of the town in that area.
When will the public hearing be?
It'll be in your first meeting in August.
Thank you.
Advertising will begin next week.
Any questions for Mr. Austin?
I have no questions for the people in the audience. It's AKA the old Crestline.
And it's a business development.
Correct.
It isn't all of it, though. There's another piece, but that's the bulk of it.
Not more houses this time.
Don't think so.
Okay, you've heard the introductory reading of ordinance 1422. Is there a motion to approve the introductory reading?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Miller, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Sharp. Questions or discussion? Roll call?
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Scheven?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Nemeyer?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Item 2 is ordinance number 1424, water tariff ordinance.
This ordinance is not ready. You did receive, just before July 1st, a tariff order of the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission approving the town's petition and the relief for tax, utility receipts tax. There'll be an ordinance for you at the next public meeting. and it'll be retroactive to July 1st.
And this has to do with the system development charges.
It does.
Thank you.
Motion to defer.
Thank you, Mr. Carnahan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Foreman. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Neiman?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Item 3 is ordinance number 1425, ratifying ordinance number 1389, which is the rezone of Lakeview Business Park, CLBD South. Mr. Austin.
I'll clean up the confusion. I apologize for any confusion there may be on this. Approximately a year ago, this project was before you on a PUD application. Your Plan Commission certified a favorable recommendation. But in order to permit the developer to proceed, you withheld the signatures on the ordinance. Well, in the time from then to 2 weeks ago, we worked on development agreement related to that development plan, the plan itself, the water utility extension agreement and undertaking that reimbursed, if you will, the developer for contractor and developer installed property and infrastructure. A little unusual, this particular matter, because the developer was ready to go, the infrastructure was ready to be constructed, but the details of the reimbursement and related terms and provisions of Indiana law took a while. And as you know, and your meetings reflect that, both in utility board and here, that that was a continuous in process. What you have before you is a replacement of the ordinance adopted last year, minus signatures, that is complete with the documents and exhibits required. Jennifer has the original. Mr. Boltema, principal of the entity developing the property, has executed same. These items are ready to go. We just want to clarify your record that this ordinance on your agenda replaces and supersedes last year because it's now complete.
So in lieu of having an ordinance to read into the record, what should the record reflect?
Action identifying that the ordinance before you replaces and supersedes the adopted ordinance last year by reason of its completion of terms, conditions, and requirements.
And the language is the same as ordinance 1389.
Nearly. Remember, we did not have the development
Correct.
agreement and the water main extension agreement at that time. No changes occurred substantively to the beef of the development project. Those items remain the same.
Thank you. So we have for consideration ordinance number 1425, as explained for the record by the town attorney, as a ratifying ordinance for 1389, which fills in the blanks from 1389.
I could give you one more shot at the
Yeah, go ahead.
IURC if you'd like.
Go ahead.
Well, you can do this.
No. Go ahead.
The Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission is enforcing new and updated laws that are promulgated by our Indiana General Assembly, none of which are good for the town itself as a water utility, but all of which had to be dealt with in making a PUD agreement with the developer.
We please make sure the record is clear on the comments of the town attorney on the presentation of ordinance 1425.
So noted.
Thank you. Is there a motion by the council on ordinance number 1425?
I make a motion to approve ordinance number 1425 as read into the record by Attorney Austin.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Rivera. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Neiman?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Is there a motion to suspend the rules?
You only need one reading.
One reading?
Zoning.
Gotcha.
The ordinance.
Thank you. One reading. Motion that the ordinance is adopted. BZA Plan Commission, we have ordinance number 1421. which is the Dykstra rezone from B2 to R2. This received a favorable recommendation from the Plan Commission on June 15, 2022. Mr. Sharp, by its title, please.
Ordinance number 1421, an ordinance reclassifying certain lands in the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, for zoning purposes and amending town ordinance number 1402, being the zoning ordinance of the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, passed and adopted by the town council of the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, the first day of March 2022, and all amendments passed subsequent thereto.
Thank you. You've heard the only reading of ordinance 1421, Dykstra rezone. Is there a motion by the council?
Mr. President,
Mr. Austin?
we still need to add to this a copy of the approved minutes of the Plan Commission for its June 15th public hearing, or public meeting, in which the public hearing on this item was conducted. My recommendation would be that action taken include completion of the exhibit attachment, the legal description as A, and the public meeting minutes as B. This particular piece of land had a significant discussion point to it regarding stormwater detention, and concerns about stormwater. So those items got picked up, and they're in the body of this ordinance in section 3.
Thank you.
You said a completion of the language on the plat?
Yes, on the ordinance, John.
Oh.
So it would include the meeting minutes
Yep.
and the property description, legal description.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion to approve ordinance 1421, the rezone from B2 to R2. Again, contingent upon the approval of the minutes as well as the language within the ordinance.
Thanks.
To the Plan Commission, right?
And the minutes from the Plan Commission, let me correct myself.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Foreman, second by Ms. Sheehan. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer?
Yes, motion carries 7-0, adopted. Old business, item 1 is Lake Ecosystem Restoration Project, SDF Stage 2 bid award. Mr. Salatas.
I'm going to ask that the council award the bid tonight for the Lake Ecosystem Restoration SDF Stage 2 to Dredge America. I think the only outstanding item is, do we do the base bid of $5.2 million, or do we go all the way to alternative 2, which is $5.9? I would say we go all the way to alternative 2. We are building a 45-acre sediment dewatering facility for the purpose of dredging the lake, the first time in 14,000 years. We should do it right, and we should do it entirely. We should fill the basin. 14,000. And commit sewer funds to fill the funding gap.
And one of the bids was 30,000,
They were reading the Army Corps of Engineer project.
They didn't want to work.
They wanted to say they bid, but they didn't really spend any time reviewing
They
it.
wanted to work.
I know guys that do that.
So, this motion will be a two-part motion that will have to include which bid alternate is preferred by the council, as well as awarding to which company.
can do it all in one, can't you?
Yes, but just make sure that that's mentioned.
All right.
I would
In the
make
motion.
the motion to award Dredge America for alternate 2.
Dredge America for alternate 2, motion made by Ms. Sheehan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Sharp. Questions or discussion?
And that is for $5 million.
5.9.
What?
5.9 million.
$5,975,000.
Right, okay.
Any other questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
With great pleasure, yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Normally, we don't get rounds of applause for spending $6 million. This is a first.
Go big or go home.
Hopefully someday it won't be the big green one, but
Someday soon, John.
we'll just hope.
You'll be able to see your toes. in
There you
that.
go, babe.
There's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, yep.
There'll be light at the end of the bottom of the lake.
There you go,
From all the cars in it.
Thanks, New business, we have item 1, Monastery Woods Clubhouse Apartment lease. Mr. Salatas.
This is an update to the Monastery Woods Clubhouse apartment lease. Currently, the lease agreement is for $600 a month. This would increase it to $650, which is approximately an 8% increase, cost of living adjustment. The tenant is made aware that this is something that may be happening, so it's, and is okay with it as much as someone can be, hearing that their rent's about to go up a bit.
Thank you. What's the pleasure of the council on the motion?
So moved.
Motion to approve?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion by Mr. Carnan, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Sheehan, questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Julia Rivera?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan? Yes. Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Neiman?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. We just had cookies delivered here, so
Someone came in and said, here's cookies for everyone.
that's fantastic.
They heard you passed the lake dredging.
$6 million for those cookies.
Those will be best cookies we've ever had.
Is there t-shirt say Dredge America?
Item 2 is park board request donation of refreshments, right there, for senior activity on July 15th.
This is a request from the park board. They don't have a specific amount. This is just for, I believe it's for sandwich platters and some cold refreshments. They currently have 5 attendees signed up as of the date of this letter. They were expecting more, obviously. I would expect probably no more than $200 to $300 probably would be sufficient.
Town promotion?
I think not to exceed.
Yes, you still have some funds available within your town promotion line.
Thank you.
Okay.
Is there a motion by the council to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Thank you. Motion by Ms. Sheehan.
Second.
Second by Mr. Sharp. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Julia Rivera?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Neiman?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Item 3, approval of fire truck purchase through Sourcewell. Mr. Salatas.
So this is a proposal from Sourcewell for a fire truck that the chief spec'd out, and I'll let him talk about that in a minute. I believe also Dave will have some comments about the procedural matter of Sourcewell. Chief, do you want to discuss the truck?
Yeah, the truck is a rescue pumper with the capabilities of pumping 1,500 gallons a minute. It'll be a first-out truck. It'll be matter of fact, it'll be the first actual fire truck the town of Cedar Lake ever bought. If you guys approve it, a brand new truck, I'm saying.
Don't say it's the first one.
Yeah.
First brand new truck,
Brand new.
so this could be a milestone for us.
It might be the last if that's the
The
case.
town. Do I gotta bring steaks? I mean, you get $6 million for
Oh, they've got cookies.
You want some history behind it, that's what I'm giving you. It could be a very, historic night tonight. We definitely need this truck in the worst way. The township truck has been a blessing for us for the last few years as our front out truck, and it's a 2006, Nick, where are we at? Eight. The town also bought a used ladder truck, which we desperately did need at the time as well, and purchased all the brand new ambulances. So this truck is a long time coming. It'll carry rescue tools. It'll be able to do, it'll respond to rescue trucks, rescue calls and structure fires, accidents with injuries. So it's going to be a multi-purpose pumper is what it's going to be. And this price that it's coming back in is an equipped truck, because it'll be an addition to our fleet, not something we can take equipment off the another apparatus and outfit it. So.
Awesome. So, Dave, you want to talk about the Sourcewell process a little bit?
Well, it seems to be a process that circumvents or acts to circumvent the statutory bidding laws. Everybody that I've talked to, and I've talked to a lot of people about this, including at the municipal law seminar I attended in Indianapolis last week, expresses concern to the extent that it is not carefully reviewed so that non-compliance with law does not occur. And every source, including at IMLA, that I have tacked onto has recommended review and issuance of an opinion. So I have not reviewed the 79 pages, Todd, yet. And we had a little difficulty in our office with the loss of an attorney who would have done that. So it sounds like a great path. You've talked about it. Both chiefs actually kind of talked about this over the last couple of months. And I've had people talk to me about it elsewhere. I think proceeding carefully and a due diligence review makes sense. The State Board of Accountants, back in the last comment I would make, which will make your clerk cringe, is that they're looking for legal opinion when they're doing audit review so that non-compliance gets addressed.
So the item for consideration tonight is not appropriating any money, it's getting the clock started on a piece of equipment. Because it's about, what, 20 months, Chief?
24 months
Yeah, it's
by the truck. St. John just went through Sourcewell, bought the same exact truck, and other communities are doing it as well. Pretty much every manufacturer offers it.
I think it's important to note what Dave said too about making legal records, since this does not follow the bidding statute, but it's still an allowable way to purchase a truck.
Indianapolis does it. I mean, just pretty much everybody is using this process nowadays.
I did it in St. John last year for a $300,000 street sweeper, but I do, if Dave's expressing concern, it's something we should.
Could this item, Dave, in your opinion, be considered this evening while you undertake review?
Sure.
Considering that really nothing's going to happen other than starting the process of putting that spec vehicle together.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. Todd talked about this with the Board of Safety here recently also, on your last meeting, I think, and talked about change of mind. There was a change of mind that early in the process we'd probably have an out if there's a sense, feel, or change of circumstances here in the community. Wouldn't want to rely on that. If you make a commitment, you approve a direction, you know, that's one thing. So I guess tonight, your best comprehensive action is have it reviewed, let the process begin, get a clock started, and know that if you're going to pull the trigger on it, or pull the plug on it, that you need to do so swiftly and not down the path 18 months from now, but 18 days from now.
And if I
But if we, Mr. Chairman, if we made an approval and we made it contingent on legal, and as long as we don't cut a purchase order, they have no legal contract from it.
Yeah,
What takes place in a public meeting doesn't mean anything. What
No.
matters is us cutting a purchase order,
Well, it
right?
actually means everything, John. That's why the contingency component to a motion or an action here is so important.
Right. But if the president of a company gives approval to buy a piece of equipment, until the purchasing department sends an actual PO, there's no legal contract.
No, I think you would find yourself on the receiving end of a complaint or a problem.
Okay,
I know I can make that case.
I got you.
Question for Jennifer.
I'll take it.
This is $1,018,903. How will we finance this, and when will we make a payment on it?
The discussion has been that we will actually issue geodebt to cover this one because of the cost of it. And until we nail out that financing, I couldn't tell you when exactly we can make the payment. But like Chief said, if it's a 24-plus month process, I mean...
Probably looking somewhere in that third year to make
Yeah.
your first payment.
Well, my concern there is the interest rate right now is probably cheaper, and if they keep increasing the rates...
This is all transitory, Bob, don't worry about it.
Okay.
It's all going away.
Bob, you would
That's recovery and
you would
history.
never make a payment until a delivery was made.
Right.
Todd's brought a lot of trucks to you, and the day it's in the garage, that's the day you need to write the check. until then, it isn't paid.
So I think
So we don't wanna pay for something we don't have.
Yeah, so I think the timelines are important too, Bob, because also this coincides with what we hope to be the completion time of the new public safety facility that the town will be entering into a build, operate, transfer process very soon. I believe the advertisements have already gone out, correct?
They have.
Yeah.
You'll receive proposals on or before the 15th.
Yeah, so we'll be getting proposals on or before the 15th of July, and this timeline lines up for us to have an engine on a west side station and an east side station to fully equip staff two
Could you explain
stations.
to the public what you're talking about and what we're doing with the police and the fire?
I just did.
Oh, but the building's gonna go up here on the town grounds.
Yeah, the building will be located on the town grounds. The corner up here will take up about, what, how many acres?
Probably one, maybe,
Yeah.
give or take.
So the footprint will be minimal, but it will be a building that will be somewhere just under $12 million to house police and fire. As everybody knows, our police and fire forces have grown, the needs of the community have grown, but our facilities have not grown with them. So it's often that we have situations where we're all standing on top of each other. This building here can still serve a good purpose because right now our staff that's housed in here on the civilian side is pretty well packed in like sardines, and by opening up that police station with a little bit of rehab work, that also gives us space for Parks Department and some expansion in the building and utility departments too. So this serves multiple purposes to build a building like this. It's being done at a much lower budget, I think, than our chiefs would like, but we're going to get a building out of it that is capable to support our growth. Also provide plenty of opportunities for training, housing, and a good way to attract and retain employees. Having a new fire station, police station like that is a very attractive thing for, especially maybe some of the younger people sitting back here to find a full-time home and working in this community. So we're pretty hopeful that in the next 18 to 24 months, we're seeing substantial buildings come out of the ground here that will fill the needs of the community for generations to come. So this all coincides timelines with equipping that station too, so. All right, we have an opinion from the attorney, explanations from Chief Wilkening as well as Mr. Salatas. And any other questions on this before we consider a motion?
I got one more thing to say. I'm not sure that, we'll have to talk to the manufacturer, but I'm not sure that they'll secure this price if they don't get the approval before their prices go up. So St. John did theirs last month and got it underneath the actual price, so.
Well, we're talking probably a couple weeks, is that correct, Mr. Roach?
Shouldn't take longer than that.
Okay, it says this proposal is valid for 45 days, came in on the 6th of June. So that puts us at
Middle of July.
20th, 21st. So next council meeting, as long as we're ready to pull the trigger by then, this is a good proposal for that time period.
It is.
Okay. All right, is there a motion by the council?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for the approval of the fire truck purchase through the Sourcewell, contingent on legal signing off on the contract.
Motion by Mr. Foreman, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Sheehan. Questions or discussion on the motion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Julia Rivera? Yes. Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Neiman?
Yes, motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
All right.
The town needs the truck. It really does, so thank you very much.
Still only have $1 million.
Next item, we have Plan Commission appointee change. Mr. Austin, I think we would need to vote on the removal of plan commission being replaced first?
You didn't see a resignation.
No.
Exactly, two actions.
So first action on this would be to remove plan commission member Jerry Wilkening. Is there a motion by the council?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Foreman, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Sharp. Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer?
No, motion carries 6-1. Next action to be taken would be the replacement for Mr. Wilkening, and his term, I believe, it expires,
3 years.
yeah, so it would be end of 2024. So this would be to serve through the remainder of Mr. Wilkening's term through the end of 2024. Statutorily, Mr. Wilkening was a Republican appointed to the board, which is made up of 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats, and 3 council members. So we have to maintain that political balance. With that being said, are there any nominations for replacement?
I'd like to nominate Greg Parker.
There's a nomination of Greg Parker. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Third call. Nominations are closed. Ralph, would you make that in the form of a motion, please?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion for Greg Parker to replace Jerry Wilkening on the Plan Commission.
Thank you. Motion by Mr. Miller. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Sheehan. Questions or discussion?
I would just state that we did have another application, but it was a Democrat,
Correct.
and that would have thrown us off balance.
Yeah, would have put us
Yeah, that was
out
Mr. Jim Huntley.
of the requirements of the statute. Any other questions or discussion? Call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Randy Neemeyer?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Item 5 is to select LPA consultant for NDOT. This is the sidewalk project, correct, Chris?
Correct. This is for the East Lakeshore Drive. This will go from the roundabout all the way to the corner of Constitution and Morris for sidewalks. Largely because given the narrow path or the narrow right-of-way along Lakeshore Drive, it's going to be largely just on one side and will alternate as we have space available. We'll get into more details once they get into full engineering. This was just a precursor engineering to get us to grant level. We had 4 companies respond. We had the scoring committee of Greg Parker, Julie Rivera, and myself. Out of those scores, the top-ranking engineering firm was VS Engineering, came in first, followed by Christopher Burke, followed by Beam Longest and Neff, and then finally HWC Engineering. So our recommendation would be to go with the highest scoring engineering firm, which would be VS Engineering.
Thank you. Is there a motion by the council? Motion to approve VS?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion by Ms. Rivera. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Sharp. Questions or discussion?
Just a question for Chris. So, the contracts were all vetted through legal?
These weren't contracts, they were just proposals.
Okay.
Through the
Just a scoring
NDOT process, it's just a scoring process. The contract negotiations will come next, now that we've selected an engineering firm. And yes, Dave will have to see legal, but there is a template NDOT contract that we will have to use for NERC standards and NDOT. So there won't be too much room for wiggle room, but there will be some negotiations, and yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm asking the question only because with CBEL knowing all they know about our community, are there any advantages and legal methods to team up with those guys since they already know everything about us and have most, or is this set in stone?
It's not necessarily set in stone. You can choose the second alternative.
How much difference in price?
There's no prices.
Okay, so
Prices are part of the contract negotiation, which will come next. The scoring differences, which you'll be able to see on the last tab of your iPad, VS Engineering scored 107.2 on average, and followed by Christopher Burke Engineering at 80.
Gotcha.
So, This process is NDOT regulated.
Yeah, it's NDOT.
It's a weighted scoring process.
They give us a scorecard,
It's
we
part
follow
of-
their process.
We've done it as part of road projects.
Correct.
When they're funded through NERC.
Correct.
This is, and we've had situations here where we've ended up with an engineer that we ended up not being real happy with.
Well, right, that's why I'm and I think VS is a very reputable firm. I don't know of any negativity there, but I know we went through this process, selected, and had some issues, so I just
But this
wanted
process is there for the transparency part of it, but to be transparent here with the public, this selection of an engineering firm is for a sidewalk project that will connect the roundabout at Klein and Lake Shore and create a pedestrian conveyance all the way here to the town grounds. And so this is 80% funded with federal funds, so it's a very good project, much needed, and it's part of the grander plan of making this whole community walkable.
That's all I had. I'm done with my questions.
Thanks, John. We have a motion and second. Any other questions or discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Scheven?
Yes.
Richard Schwartz?
Yes.
Randy Neiman?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Reports, Town Council. Mr. Carnahan.
I took care of the flag raising and, the singing of the Star Spangled Banner.
You
and
sing?
Brenda
I didn't know you could sing that.
No, I don't sing.
Do you have a recording of this?
No, but what I'd like to say is that the second day, Brenda Roberts sang God Bless America, then Dominic Corticratz did it the next 2 days and sang God Bless America with the Star Spangled Banner, and the first day, on Saturday, Dominic Corticratz had an orchestra with him.
Wow.
So it was amazing.
Very good. Any other reports, Bob?
No.
I just want to say Summerfest did a great job, as always. This year seemed to be really smooth, and also thank you to all the town employees that help out with that. I know, it adds more work, the ladies in the office, to the fire department, to the police department, but it all went, it was great. I was there 2 days and had good weather, and it was a great time. So thanks to everybody involved.
I'll say this, that people from around the region recognize the Summerfest here as one of the premier festivals in Northwest Indiana, so my hat's off to everyone who works tirelessly at it. I know that it takes a ton of work that people don't realize how many hours go into something like this. So, Mary Joan, if you could please pass along the message to the whole team and yourself, heartfelt thank you from us for, once again, doing an outstanding job at showcasing Cedar Lake. Thank you. I have a report. Of course, 4th of July comes fireworks complaints. Every year it gets louder and more obnoxious and more dangerous with fireworks. I received one concern from a citizen about fireworks being lit in the middle of the street. He had called the police and was told that they were too busy to respond, and I wanted to know what do we do in that situation where they're actually lighting a fire in the middle of the street and we can't respond? How do we address something like that, Chief?
Yeah, hire more people. It was very busy for us this weekend. If you drive around town, 90% of them are lighting the fireworks off in the street.
They're doing it at Crown Point too.
We're not the only community, and I'm not saying that it's right, and I agree with you, but it's nearly impossible for us to stop them all.
How many officers did you have on duty last night?
Last night,
Yeah.
4 on the town, or 3 on the town grounds, plus the patrol commander, and 3 on the road.
Well, he means the night of the fireworks.
Well, last night was the 4th when a lot of people were lighting off their own personal fireworks.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it sounded like we were under attack totally last night. I took cover a couple of times.
I heard of people loud one.
But I just, when somebody calls, I know that every police department posted on their Facebook pages, this is when you should call 911 and this is when you shouldn't, right?
They all share the same the state police department shares that.
So, but when there's a roaring fire in the middle of your street of fireworks, that's one of those things that's in the middle of the street and it's pretty dangerous, not only for the people lighting the fireworks, but the residents around and the automobiles driving up and down the street. So I didn't know if there was something that could be done from a patrol standpoint that could address something like that, where when there's a call like that, maybe you go visit a neighborhood that you get the call from, because...
I was unaware of the complaint, obviously, I didn't see it, and nor did I realize that this was said to them, so I'll have to look into it.
Okay. Because that, I mean, every year, like I said, this stuff, is there any regulation out there from a state standpoint that regulates the commerce of illegal fireworks coming through our ports?
Well, the problem is that the fireworks, the kind of fireworks that you can utilize within the state are regulated, right? But by the time we get there, they've blown it up, we don't know what size it is anymore.
Well, I can tell by how my house shook that there was some pretty...
And I'm sure that there's, you know, some M80s or something, you know, half sticks or whatever they're throwing out there. I'm sure that that's happening. But again, like I said, by the time we get there, they're done, put away, or in the house, or laughing like, yeah, it was right down the road when they were the ones that did it. It's a matter of us catching them doing it.
Yeah, I think that, you know, there's always frustration around this time of year with a lot of people feeling like, you know, their personal safety doesn't matter when it comes to people blowing off gigantic fireworks. So it's one of those difficult things that we face every year, but putting together some kind of plan of action to at least try to target some patrols every now and then, because I think if you can catch one or two people, it makes it a little more risky for the average fireworks user to just start blowing off these gigantic illegal fireworks.
Yeah.
So
It's an issue.
it's kind of like writing speeding tickets, that if you're patrolling an area and people find out you wrote a couple tickets, most of the time, people back off the accelerator a little bit. So you hope that something like that could work as well in this situation. But that was something I wanted to address, Chief, but thank you.
Oh, I want to circle back. Thank you, Public Works as well. I think I left you out of helping with Summerfest.
She did that on purpose.
Well, I can tell you, from where I live in the Heights, right? I got the Monastery Wood on one side of me and Havenwood on the other, and I got a pretty good free show without spending any money. But I'm sure there was some big mortars. I mean, the unit, things that they buy that go up in the air 200 feet and explode. It's hard to believe that that's legal, in my opinion.
They're buying them straight from the corner store.
It's hard to believe. You can buy them, but they're not allowed to be blown off, is the way I interpret the law. And it's the most asinine law I think the state of Indiana has approved. When we were kids, we never had this. You had to go to Tennessee or... Right. It's legal,
And part of the problem is with the people that serve in the military, when those things go off, that really hurts them.
But I do appreciate, you know, the Summerfest and all this activity. There's a lot of stress on our services, so I don't want to just lodge a complaint. This is more of a conversational piece of, let's see if there's ways that we can at least mitigate some of it, that the message is out there that you can't just do this and break the law without there being consequences. But in that same breath, all of you guys and everyone back here did an outstanding job at protecting our community and responding to many calls that probably you shouldn't have had to respond to from the stupidity of people during this time of year. But it's greatly appreciated that you answer the call and take the time out of your own holidays to be here for us, so thank you very much. Any other council reports? Town attorney?
No report.
Clerk treasurer?
Council, we are continuing to move forward with work on the 2023 budget. Chris and I were just discussing this morning, 2 weeks I think we decided on. We'll be sending an invite out to council affairs. We'd like to start meeting with department heads to go over their wish list and for 23, and start to really hammer down the 23 budget.
Yeah, and our council affairs committee has participated in a couple of budget meetings. Our revenue picture looks fairly promising. just from the growth of the community. But again, we're going to take the same approach as we go through this of planning, a very conservative approach, because there is a great deal of uncertainty. We can't count on continued windfalls coming from the growth of the community. So this is all being carefully done. The needs of the departments to serve the public will be considered. We've never been a group that's based what we do off of a bunch of wish list items. This is about fulfilling needs. So there's certain things that stick out in different budgets as it relates to the need to serve the community. So we're going to keep our eye on that, and as we have more information, we'll be sharing that with you, as well as the pro forma for the public safety building and how that will impact the average property taxpayer. What I've seen first off in the first draft is an extremely minimal impact. Very, very promising, and a lot of that has to do with our financial position as a community and our low tax rate. So really good stuff happening, good opportunities here to have properly staffed and funded departments that serve the community well. Amber?
No, I think that's it.
Town manager?
I've just got one. Wind has been taken out of my sails mostly. Some of you might have noticed the Lowell Tribune, that Lowell wastewater plant received an IS violation, a little under $3,000. It was for a liner issue they're having there at the EQ basin. It's something we've known about. It's something we have a project in the pipeline for, but that project will not be let out until we finish the current project that we just started or just awarded of the pipe that will drain the EQ basin. So first we need to get the pipe fixed that will drain the EQ basin. Then we're going to tear the old liner out. There's a plateau in there that they plan on removing, which should add a couple million gallons of capacity to the EQ basin, and then they'll reline it with an appropriate sized and new liner. So it's possible we may receive another item, or the plants may receive another item violation, just because that project is going to be several $1 million, and our $2.5 million project right now is just in the infancy of getting started.
And I took a picture of the newspaper article and sent it to everybody.
Yep. Thank you, Bob. Anything else? No. Thank you. Director of Operations.
Just utility related, they finished up doing the testing on lighthouse wells. Those both look very good, and also got one of the two new well pump motors installed at Havenwood with the drive, so that stuff is moving along well. That stuff came in and making progress. That's it.
Thank you. Police Department.
Nothing to report. Very, very busy weekend.
Thank you. Fire Department.
Randy had sent you the newest fireworks update as far as what size fireworks can be sent. So when you get a chance to look at it, it's just sent forward to you. We were very busy this weekend too. We had some pretty bad incidents involving roadway vehicles, stuff like that happening in town. A lot of traffic in Cedar Lake. We have to discuss in the future how to balance that. We're basically locking down the town during the fireworks, so we got to be able to get around. Going back to the fire truck, what I was trying to say, and I didn't mean that the town never bought a fire truck, but I got interrupted, so.
Sorry about that, Chief.
Trying to finish my thought before I.
We wanted to pin you on that.
Yeah, I know, and I didn't want to look like a fool, but that's okay. The whole point was that the town of Cedar Lake has brought our fire department a long way, and this council's done a lot of work to do so. We've always bought our own trucks back in the day when we were private. Since we've been part of the town, we've bought numerous ambulances, other squads, other units, a very expensive piece of apparatus and an aerial. We did buy a used truck because it was a very good deal, and it saved the town a lot of money. We have a good partner in the township that bought us 2 trucks now, and I wanted to thank the town and the council for putting together helping us put this package together and getting a new engine for the first time. And I want to thank Chris for doing a lot of work on this right off the get-go when I brought it to his attention. He had experience with it and thought it was good, so hopefully in 2 weeks it'll get moved forward. So that's the last of my report.
I would add, I'd like to thank the Hanover Township Trustee's Office for the equipment that they buy for you, because that really helps the town out.
It's a great partnership, and it's important, so, thank you, Bob. Before we go to, well, we have a Veritas report.
Veritas report will be at the next meeting.
Thank you. Before we go to the last part of our meeting, we have a guest with us this evening.
Hi.
Jen, you go ahead and to the microphone.
Oh, I don't need it.
No,
Do I have to? It's easier, so I don't.
You gotta state your name and address.
Jennifer Conlon, and I think you need my address.
Yeah.
12516 Havenwood Path. So I'm Jen Conlon. I came here just, I know most of you, but not all of you. I'm the new Havenwood president. Jim is moving next month.
Congratulations to you.
Yeah, I'm great. So I know Jim has worked with a lot of you, especially Tim and some other, members. So I just wanted to introduce myself and look forward to working with you guys. That's really it.
Thank you.
So-
We always hope to have minimal conflict with people that are running HOAs, because that's not really business we want to be a part of.
Right.
So if you guys are doing your thing and there's no interaction, that's even better.
That's even better, exactly. So maybe we'll work together, hopefully not. But that's it.
Do you still meet at the chamber?
We still meet at the
And
chamber.
when do you meet?
It is the third Wednesday of the month, except in December, we don't have a meeting. And then in May, we have our annual meeting at the Legion. And that's always, I can't say it's always a Wednesday. Sometimes it's a Monday, sometimes
But
it's just when they're available.
But from our standpoint, when there's issues that deal with the town, don't hesitate to reach out.
Absolutely.
Chris and his office can help to direct some traffic to make sure if there's issues that need to be considered by the town that you take care of.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, we thank everything, I know Jim has reached out and you guys have done a lot of things.
Tim has me on a hotline,
Yeah,
and then I have Tim on a hotline.
yeah. That's what I said. It's like you two. So, yeah, absolutely. So, that's it. All right. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Congratulations on that
Thank you,
promotion.
John.
We got an awesome lady.
What do you think, Pat?
I'm the first man.
Yeah.
I actually am the first female president of Hazelwood.
All right.
Congratulations.
Right?
It's about time.
Right?
Yes.
Hey, you don't know an engineer that
Start with him.
helped with project management.
Start getting straight up.
raised their hand.
I know. I was the only one that pushed. Everyone took a step and then they all went there.
It's the valedictorian of summer school.
Congrats.
Written communication, Chris, anything?
No written communication.
Open public comment?
Mary Jo Dixon, 8711, place. I just have a question. In all the years I've come to meetings, we've always talked about having a fire station on the other side of the tracks. Because of the railroad tracks, why would we put it on the east side when so much development's going on the west side with 41? I work at Holy Name and I see you guys go by 90 times a day. So I'm not
40% of our
understanding.
calls are on the east side of the lake.
Pardon me?
40% of our calls are
On
on
the east side lake, from Klein Avenue over, is that what you're saying?
And the next wave of growth is happening here. Over the next 10 years, you'll probably, if the economy's stable, you'll probably see over 1,000 homes built on the east side.
We're gonna occupy both
We're the
buildings. We're not.
At least 1,000.
Yeah. We're gonna have two fire stations.
I understand that, how much staff do you have?
Hopefully we'll get this grant for one, that'll give us 3 more, but we'll split the crews.
Okay, so a grant for enough firemen to fill that
No.
the station?
We're gonna have, we currently operate with 5 or
Okay.
7 during the day. So 3 will be on one side of the lake, 2 will be on the other. And we meet up in the middle for calls. That's gonna be the process.
Okay,
But by the time that station is open,
This is my job to figure that out.
Okay, no, and that's why I'm asking questions. I've sat here for years.
Yeah, we haven't put it out there on, well, our whole plan yet, but we
Okay.
will soon.
All right, I mean, I'm just, you know, I'm
If you guys
listening
have
and I'm
questions,
just,
come and see me.
It's coming to my head.
The east side of the lake, the developers that own property, well over 1,000 acres on the east side of the lake, this is where the next wave of growth is
Okay.
gonna be. And also, it was an economics thing. If we were to try and build it on a piece of property we didn't own on the west side, we were probably looking at a $20 million project to start with a piece of property we don't own, or having to raise buildings, do
Right.
site work. Doing it here allowed us to do it under what's called a referendum.
I'm
So-
very familiar with
Yeah,
that.
if we would have been over $12 million, we would have had to go to a referendum because of the impact on all the other taxing units. So by doing it here, this doesn't create that massive ripple effect. It keeps our tax rate in town low, and it has extremely minimal impact on the average taxpayer. So there was an economic and a future growth aspect to the planning of this.
And then what's like a, so what, how much would it cost? Because it surely can't cost,
12
no, for a referendum,
This building,
yeah.
11.9
million.
About-
Okay,
yeah,
so it's under-
just shy of 12, yeah.
Let's hope nothing goes wrong.
That's police and fire though. You got-
Oh, I didn't hear you say police.
Yeah, full public safety.
Yes, and we're gonna take over, the town hall's gonna take over the rest of the.
No, it's 20,
20,500.
yeah, a little over 20,000 square feet in the building.
Okay. Thank you, I appreciate that. The restrooms for Bartlett Park, are we moving anywhere with those?
Chris?
We have a meeting with the park, or at least a part of the park board to go over, with the consultants, that project. Yeah, we plan on, that's
Okay.
full intent to move forward with that. Obviously, the timeline that we originally, because we received no bids on the original project, are completely out the water, but we are still moving forward.
This was kind of a reboot.
Okay. And then, interceptors, is there a timeline for that?
Kim, where are we at on the interceptor?
They got all the stuff is approved and all their manholes are ordered, and they're gonna be starting on that anytime for phase one, so it's ready to go.
The full 3 phases is gonna take approximately, what, about 5 years?
Probably, yeah, about that. give or
For the
take.
interceptor, yeah.
Yeah.
For the full 3 phases of it.
And then last, on behalf of the Summerfest, we are very happy to provide the 4th annual event for not only the community, but outside the community. I feel that we need to be in a loop of some sort to find out what the future's gonna be. Because if this gets smaller, as you said, it only causes more problems. So we need to work together, I hope, and not just, you know, be sprung like, hey, you gotta make this happen, because we do sign contracts in advance. We try to wait until we get the contract from the attorney, but this year, that did not work out too well because of the insurance process that we had to go through, and I'm sure you're all aware of that. So we want to get on that earlier, so we don't have the problem we had this year with insurance.
It'd be helpful if like, once you guys kind of tidy everything up, if you wanna somebody wants to set up a meeting with Chris.
Well, we used to have liaisons, so that's what, so if you're telling me to set up with Chris, we can do that.
Yeah,
Because we
so-
did keep in
Yeah,
communication.
so there's a review and like an expectation going into next year. Hey, what timelines is it that
Yeah.
need to be met, so there's a little smoother flow? But as far as the footprint of the building here, it's gonna be minimal as far as disrupting normal flow of traffic. It's, like I say, there's, the aspects of economics and growth kind of drove the location.
No, I was, and like I said, sitting here for decades, it was always the concern, what do we do on the other side of the tracks? What do we do with that business? 41, all the accidents on 41, and for to have, you know, to just think someone would have to come from this side of the lake to go all the way over there to assist you, in my head, it's not making sense. But if you tell me that's what you gotta do, that's what you gotta do. I mean, it's a
Yeah,
matter
but
of
you're
money,
gonna
is
have
what it
2
is.
fire stations, one's still gonna be on the west side, the current one's gonna stay there.
Yeah, but the number of guys, I would think.
We have volunteers and paid per call, on-call people on this side of the lake that will supplement the station, just like it does now.
Right.
In essence, the fire station on the east side of the lake will man an ambulance for now. As we grow, then we'll be able to put more people in it.
Yeah, and, you know, a couple thousand more homes in the next decade is probably what's gonna happen here on the east side. So you're gonna see the growth shift from one side to the other.
Our response times to the east side, are right now with the development, are up to 11 minutes
Okay.
on the southeast side of town. So we have to do something. We have to knock those numbers down at least for an ambulance. If there's a fire, both stations will respond, it'll be just like no different. The nice thing is if we have the fire on the east side, the ambulance will abort, the ambulance from this side will go help cover the fire, and the fire engine will be there a lot quicker to start putting water on the fire. So as we grow, we'll add more people to both stations and balance it out.
Thank you, Mary Jo. Appreciate the question.
There's a bigger process, but if you want to sit down and talk about it, I'm glad to do that. Yep.
Public
Anyway,
comment?
so,
Any other public comment? I knew you didn't just come here for your health, Kevin.
I come here normally. Kevin Toll, 975 West 129th Place. Just a couple comments. We were talking about spending a lot of money tonight, and a lot of it's gonna be spent in the future, and I hope that this growth that we're expecting is gonna continue, and we don't hit another 2008. And I think that we're not looking at that right now. We are spending money, in my opinion, we're spending it like water. And we better be careful with what we're doing.
It's actually not true.
Well, it just seems like we are.
Plan.
We're spending for this 2 years out and that 4 years out and this, and I just wish that you guys as a council sometimes, and I don't know if we're to that point yet or whatever, but even with like the new fire station or the new fire police building and all that stuff, are there gonna be meetings so you can tell people what you're doing, how it's gonna work, or, you know, how much it's gonna cost, what it's gonna take up as far as the parkland and everything else, so that everybody knows what's going on. And I know I can call Todd and I can go sit down and talk to him anytime about it, but everybody can't.
Is there any time where we've done anything where that hasn't been done?
I'm just asking on these projects now, is that going to happen, or, because right now it seems like this is all a done deal and nobody really knows what's going on with it.
the fairness group is.
Not even a close to done deal, we just.
Okay, I'm just asking, because it just seems like it's already a done deal that it's there, and we're gonna put 12 million there, and we're gonna put how much into the other side?
There's a requirement of public hearings for build, operate, transfer under statute.
Okay, I just wanted to know that.
And those things will all be fully presented to the public as we've done forever. So there's nothing going to be hidden about any of these projects. The taxpayers will know exactly what the impact will be on them. Everybody will know all of it. And as far as outspending our abilities, that's not true, or not even close.
I'm not saying it's true, it might not be true right now, but
Even if we have an economic slowdown, Kevin, the spending we're doing has been planned for an economic slowdown.
okay, I just want to make sure that it
Our
is.
financial advisors have kept us in that direction, that if our growth is cut by 75%, we can sustain what we're doing.
Okay, I hope so, I just want to make sure that we are. And I will make one other comment too, though, and I understand the consortium thing about buying the fire truck and all that stuff, but I think everything should go out to bids, and that's just my opinion. I did it in my office, and I think that I could have used a consortium process, and I understand what it is and all that, but I think in the public, everything should go out for bids. Just a comment.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Any other public comment? Third call. Thank you all for coming. It's always good to see a nice crowd here, so our next town council public meeting will be Tuesday, July 19th at 7, preceded by at 6:30 a utility board meeting. Meeting is adjourned.